Alright, we should be live. I believe we're live, so I'm going to assume we're live. We are going to be heading into another competitive Modern League in just a moment. This is the list I'll be running this week. It's the same as last week, and technically also last week, because today's Sunday, so that would be the beginning of a new week, but I played a second league last week. That one was just on the YouTube channel because I did not stream it. That was more of a play when I have a chance to league, whereas this is going to be 5 matches in a row just like the other streams. So there's not really anything to talk about the list before we head into a match, so let's head into a match. While we wait, we'll pull up the list. I still don't know if I like Click. I have cast it a few times. I like it in theory. Other things we can talk about in the list. I am a fan of Curious Obsession. I love Curiosity. This card is basically just better than Curiosity for us, so it's hard not to like that. +1/+1 on a Hooting Mandrills is really great. Growing Tarmogoyf, also something I like quite a bit. So that card is, I don't even mean growing Tarmogoyf by putting it in the graveyard. I mean making Goyf a Goyf +1/+1 with a Curiosity on it. That's great. We are in a match. We're on the draw, which is slightly less than fortunate. Is this hand a keep? I'm inclined to say no. It's not the worst, but we already have two cards we can't cast. This Visions is going to have to be used to look for a green source. We don't have any interaction in that case. I'm going to mulligan expecting something much better. I'll take this. That's worth keeping. We're going to bottom the Curious Obsession because what we want right now is a red source and or some more threats. Being on the draw should help that a little bit. Raging Ravine screams Jund. Don't believe we can afford to hold up this Spell Snare. I do think we're either going Delver or Visions. Delver, gonna be very nice if they don't have an answer to it, but I mean, they almost certainly have an answer to it, so maybe we just look for a land here. And then next turn we can go Delver plus something, which is probably just much better. 2 lands. I think we want both. We're going to top the Flooded Strand, because it is the worst fetch land, so if we have to crack it, we're going to be cracking that one first. Head back over to the opponent. Tarmogoyf, definitely something I'm happy to draw. Wouldn't be surprised to see a Scavenging Ooze here or a Bob. Either one is pretty likely, maybe a Tarmogoyf. Our Visions means it doesn't die to a Bolt, so I wouldn't even be surprised if the opponent just ran out of Goyf. Totally defensible. There is their Tarmogoyf. We probably will not be slamming ours because I like playing around Liliana of the Veil. So what we're going to do is play out this Delver of Secrets, and if the opponent casts a Liliana, we're going to denial it. If they do not cast a Liliana, we probably just elect to draw the top card of our deck. Don't think we want to fetch a land tapped here or Thought Scour when we know the top card is something we would like. Another red source and black source for the opponent. Could be a Lily. Might not be. It's a Lightning Bolt. We're going to have to let that resolve. No way to counter it. The Goyfs are now big. Second Tarmogoyf. That's probably worth Spell Snaring, even though it gets rid of the land that we know we want to draw. Don't think we have too much of a chance if we let the opponent have 2 Tarmogoyfs on this board. We are clearly on the back foot. Unless we have another land on top of our deck, we're not going to be able to hold up Stubborn Denial. I think we just have to play out this Tarmogoyf and hope, which really is quite a bad spot to be in. Is it worth Thought Scouring here? It might be. I really wish this Tarfire was the 3rd land, but we didn't really have an option as to whether or not we should fetch there. So what do we do? If we elect to not play Goyf, we are definitely taking 4. If we decide to play Goyf, we're going to be in a terrible spot if they have Fatal Push, Terminate, Dreadbore, Liliana of the Veil. We're pretty much dead in all of those scenarios. We play out the Tarmogoyf, then we take 4 anyways. In the Liliana case, they also have an active Liliana that we probably end up bolting afterwards. Don't really want to cast this Tarfire while they have that Tarmogoyf on board. I think we need to play out the Tarmogoyf and just hope that they don't have removal, even though that's really unlikely. If we Thought Scour here, hoping to find a third land for the Goyf plus Denial play, we're not really doing anything else on this turn, which is really bad unless we draw into another Delver or maybe another Cantrip. So I think the only line we really have that does anything decent is play Goyf and Dream, even though it's not a very productive dream. Well, it's a great dream, it's just really unlikely to come true. Game 1 against Jund, not great. Certainly better than the... Well, is it better than the post-board games? I don't know. This is Liliana, so we're probably dead. Yeah, even if we answer this Liliana, that means Goyf just gets huge. We take 7. Yeah, we're just about done here. I'm pretty sure we may as well scoop, but we'll let the opponent play another turn. If they have untapped land, they also get to swing with this. So this is pretty much just rock and hard place mode right now. Bloodbraid Elf. A lot of things kill us here. Game 1 against Jund is definitely easier to get aggressive in than games 2 and 3. Solely because they board in more removal. Yep, that's Raging Ravine. I don't think we need to show them any more cards. They're just going to swing. We are going to die and head to the sideboard. Yeah, you can have another counter. Doesn't matter to me. Theoretically there, we could bolt the Raging Ravine and only take 4, but then we're dead to bolt. And we're probably dead to Bloodbraid because there's no way we're answering Tarmogoyf and Bloodbraid Elf in the same turn. So chances are we're just extremely dead here. I don't think we need to show them any more cards. That just didn't go the way we needed it to. So, we're going to be trying to play a bit more of a mid-range role in this game against Jund, because that is somehow easier to do against them. What are we going to board in? Vendilion Click demands 2 answers, which is great. Spreading Seas draws a card, turns off Raging Ravine, potentially hurts Liliana, or rather hurts the Liliana plan by making it harder to cast. We're going to want those 3 Blood Moons for pretty much the same reason as Spreading Seas. EE, Basilisk Collar, and Huntmaster. See if we can answer some fatties through artifacts, because, well, we're playing Temur, and that means we're definitely not doing it through traditional removal spells. Stuff that comes out, a lot of counters and some Thought Scours. The opponent's going to do a good job of helping us fill up that graveyard, so we don't really need those. Mana Leak is, I mean, take a look at that game just as an example. It's not a hard and fast rule, but they had a Liliana that we weren't really able to answer because we weren't able to hold mana up. They had a Tarmogoyf that we couldn't answer because we didn't have mana up. Counterspells are good. I like counterspells. I am a blue mage, so clearly I'm a fan. But you know what? In certain scenarios, they just don't do the trick. Even these spell snares. I'm a big fan of spell snare against Jund, but sometimes you just can't have it up. And you know what? Top decking a spell snare in the late game sucks. This hand's going to be a mulligan because we need to be able to cast our stuff. That's ever so slightly better, so I'm going to keep it. That actually makes it worth it to not play out Delver of Secrets, knowing that we have another land that we really want to draw on top. And you know what? If the opponent uses discard to shred our hands and we're left with a bunch of counterspells that they can play around perfectly because they know exactly what's in our hand, well, those counterspells just got even worse. Sure, if you have enough bad cards that the counterspells are not your least good cards, then yeah, keep more in. I keep in 1 Stubborn Denial just because it's likely to be live at some point, and there's only so much stuff you actually want to cut. Keeping 2 denials I could see, 2 denials a snare maybe, but I really just want to cut as many of them as I can, because we have cards like Engineered Explosives, which is actual removal against Jund. We've got Blood Moon, which they may very well Thoughtseize away here, but given that they led on Fetch Out a Swamp, it's entirely possible they're just going to ignore that, which honestly I'm kind of okay with. We're going to play out this Flooded Strand, probably fetch out some stuff that's going to make this Blood Moon bad, but it's going to let us cast 2 spells, and that is good. Let's get a Steam Vents, and this probably just has to be a breeding pool, because I want my green cards to be live. Little unfortunate, but what are you going to do? We won't be able to cast a Hooting Mandrills that we top deck, so it doesn't actually matter which land we use. I like Collar and Roast. I think I'm going to bottom the Collar just because we don't have many threats here. Roast might actually get bottomed as well because of that Dismember, but if Delver survives, I'm going to want an instant or sorcery on top, so let's do that anyways. We'll give this a go. We have priority still because of the EE. Unfortunately, we're obviously not going to cast it on 0 because that would just be bad. That is not how you want to play your EE. They're going to find out we have a Roast, and they might just Abrupt Decay this Aberration, or maybe they'll take some damage off of it. Who knows? Fatal Push, that's fine. Unfortunately, that's going to be the end of our turn. We could play the EE on 2 here, which I don't actually hate. It's going to make me sad if they go K-Command. But on the other hand, 2 is probably what we want this on. Liliana of the Veil might make that kind of bad. What are we going to do here? Do we want EE on 2 right now? We might. You play the EE on 2. Well, we already have a lot of removal, but just the fact that we could get our mana used up. I guess we could Dismember something. How are the graveyards? Instant, sorcery, land, creature. So Goyf's still a 4/5. That's probably worth leaving Dismember up. If they have a Liliana of the Veil, I'm obviously going to be quite sad. They're playing around Blood Moon, which isn't the worst. It's dead right now, but we might just end up pitching it to something like Liliana. Of course, if they have Liliana, we're probably just in a terrible spot because we don't have a threat on board right now. The 2 threats we had in hand were answered via Thoughtseize and Fatal Push. Land tapped is kind of nice. The fact that it isn't a black source is also nice. Wooded Foothills. Slamming Blood Moon here probably kind of really bad. I think that's the verdict. It just seems like not a good idea. I don't think I'm going to slam Blood Moon here. It cuts us off of blue, which isn't relevant yet, but it will be eventually. The opponent's colors are good, although they're going to be off of Liliana, and it will turn off that Raging Ravine, which is something I like. I think we really just have to hope we top deck something good, though. We're simply not in a good spot. Stomping Ground, we might be facing down a Bloodbraid. It looks like we're not. Don't think we're going to crack that fetch yet, although it probably gets a basic forest, and we don't want to draw the basic forest since we already have a fetch for it, so thinning out the deck by doing this before we draw doesn't seem that bad. Tarfire, we're drawing a lot of answers, which could be good, could be bad. I really wish we had a threat in play. I still don't like playing out that Blood Moon. If the opponent taps out to swing with Raging Ravine, Blood Moon might look better, but they just drew their other basic swamp, so I guess that's moot. We probably have to Dismember that Ravine. We're going to wait until they tap it. That way they can't do something like Bolt us in conjunction with that. I do believe we need to answer this at our earliest convenience, though. Pretty unfortunate. Goyf still dies to Roast, so there's that. Simic Charm. That's not doing anything good. Do we want to play out this EE now? We aren't really using our mana at instant speed here. We've got Tarfire and Simic Charm. The thing with the EE play, though, is we have to decide whether we want to hit Tarmogoyf or we want to hit Liliana of the Veil. And I think we just want to set this on 3. We have Roast, which will help answer Goyfs. Simic Charm temporarily does something. If they grow the Tarmogoyf by making us discard either of these two, Tarfire or Blood Moon, or even just blow up the EE on us, well, Tarmogoyf's going to be pretty bad. But, well, bad for us. It'll be great. But I don't think we really have too much of an option at this point. We really just wanted to see more action, which we obviously did not see. 2 Bobs. We are definitely not far ahead enough to let these Bobs survive and expect that we could burn the opponent out. So I actually might Roast one and Tarfire the other. Although that means we're basically dead to Tarmogoyf, but we're kind of dead to Tarmogoyf as is. Once we Tarfire one, Goyf's going to be out of Roast range, so I don't think that's really relevant. I'm going to grab a Mountain. And hope that we just top deck running Huntmasters into Tarmogoyfs, into Mandrills. Yeah, basically. We pretty much need to draw complete fire. Well, I mean, on the other hand, the opponent could just draw nothing good whatsoever. They have been doing a lot of nothing. Aside from the double Confidant play, we haven't seen much out of them. Maelstrom Pulse? Yes. That's fine. Can't stop that, so it's gonna happen. This would be a very large Tarmogoyf. Maybe this is just Liliana now that they've taken our answer out of our hand. It's Choke. Okay. Was not expecting Choke out of a Jund player. That seems kind of odd. Honestly, their cards are just kind of better than ours. I'm going to slam this Knuckleblade, because we're not going to get a better chance to slam that Knuckleblade. Unfortunately, that means we're only going to be untapping 2 permanents. But the opponent's kind of low on gas too, so maybe everything will work out just fine. I understand the opponent having Choke for something like... Why are they tapping so much mana? Bloodbraid? It's gotta be Bloodbraid, right? I understand Choke against blue control deck, something running Jace. Yeah, it's Bloodbraid. Bloodbraid into Lightning Bolt. Well, where that bolt goes basically decides how we block here. Bolt Face, we want to block Bloodbraid. Bolt Nux, we don't want to block Bloodbraid. They might also have a Fatal Push in hand, but I don't think we can play around that at this point. What they could do here is swing with the Bloodbraid Elf and actually hope that we don't block. Sorry, hope that we do block. We cannot cast anything. We can swing, which is really bad because we're dead on the crackback, but we're basically dead anyway, so we're going to pass. This match just didn't go our way. I like Choke against Jace decks in Jund because it lets you sort of just tempo out the control decks that would go way over you. I don't really see it being great against a deck like Delver. Although, it is doing work here. I think if that was most of Jund's other cards, though, they'd be in a slightly better spot. Jund's cards are all just really good. So, I don't think you want to have an enchantment here that just cuts me off of mana when you could have... Well, obviously you're not boarding out Bloodbraid, but maybe Bobs, maybe Pushes. Who knows what they boarded out? They had to take out something, though. And chances are that card was very good. How big can that Scavenging Ooze get? 4/4 with just the Bobs. Delver, Mandrills, they have 3 green sources, so we're actually dead if we don't block this. And they know our hand, so we're just going to block, sacrifice the Savage Knuckleblade, and then die on their next turn. Not a good first match. Yup. Gain some life. Make Skoos bigger. Scavenging Ooze is a card I like a lot, especially in Bloodbraid decks like Jund, because it's a clock, it's a really good creature, good cascade hit, and it also acts as disruption for graveyard-based combo decks like Storm, which is a place I could see a deck like Bloodbraid having trouble against because Storm's a very fast combo deck. Obviously, Jund has things like Inquisition, but Skoos just helps that much more. We can play this island and bounce a thing, which I think is actually the play because it gives us an extra turn of life, but I don't know what we're drawing to in that case. We're going to take 3 off of Bloodbraid. We're going to... Oh, they just have another Bloodbraid, so we're super dead. That works. We take 3 off of Bloodbraid otherwise. We bounce the Scavenging Ooze. How does that go down? We bounce the Scavenging Ooze, we take 3, we go down to 2, and then the next turn they just put the Skoos back down, swing with Bloodbraid again, and there's nothing we can have for 2 mana that saves us. Huntmaster costs 4. If not for this Bloodbraid, it could have theoretically saved us after the bounce Skoos draw Huntmaster play, but that didn't work out. Let's head into the next match. Jund is one of our worst matchups. Debatably the worst, although I think Eldrazi Tron currently holds that title. I do not like the Eldrazi Tron matchup. Jund does get better post-board in my opinion because we have a lot of haymakers that we can draw into. It just so happens that we didn't really draw them. I probably could have played better. Could I have played better in that second game? In the first game, maybe you don't run out the Tarmogoyf, but I do think I like running out the Tarmogoyf. We're going to be on the play here. This hand is keepable. It's not fantastic because we have a cantrip and 3 lands, but Delver's going to come down, we might Tarfire something, and Mandrills won't be too far behind. Steam Vents or Breeding Pool? Steam Vents is better if we want to shock as little as possible, so I think that's going to be the route. If we're going up against something like Burn, I don't really want to have to fetch shock in order to get my red source. Not great. I would much rather just have the first land we play be the red source, and then other lands can just come into play tapped if we like. We are up against Tron. Let's see if we can get this Delver to transform. It's a Flooded Strand. We're going to draw that before Delver has a chance to look at it. Delver trigger first. Bobble trigger draws it. Delver sees a Thought Scour. Wonderful. That means we're also going to be slamming Hooting Mandrills here. That is exactly what we want to do. Do we just fetch out a Forest? Probably. Fetch out Forest, Thought Scour. We want to make sure we fetch first because I don't really want to scour away the Forest. Our life total is somewhat relevant in this matchup. We have lots of burn, which could be good. Slam this little guy. Although I guess 4/4s aren't quite little. We want to keep that Mishra's Bauble in the graveyard for Tarmogoyf, for Traverse. We have plenty of things that are going to synergize with Snapcaster Mage, so that's not an issue. Leaving Instants and Sorcery is not something we need to do right now. Our Tron opponent might be missing land drops here. Expedition Map. I guess we're going to find out whether or not they're missing land drops because they either are going to play a land or they're not. They have it. And the map that's going to be turn 4 Tron. Technically turn 3, but they won't be able to use it. What do we got? Serum Visions. Fire off 2 burn spells or use a Visions. It's probably better to just fetch out an island and use the Serum Visions. Spell Snare, not going to be great. Mishra's Bauble, we don't really need either. We're going to swing here, and we do have 2 red sources available very soon. So I think I'd rather use this Visions than a burn spell. Then again, I don't hate using a burn spell here. What's the play? What is the play? I don't think it's a huge decision because we are very favored right now, but I also don't want to throw this game away. We visions, we draw into nothing that we could play this turn, or we just Tarfire on their end step. That's probably just slightly better. Visions gets us a card deeper for turn 4, but I don't think that's quite relevant. I also don't think they have any way that they're going to be able to shut us off of our lands. Natural Tron certainly makes things better for them. Wormcoil Engine, that definitely makes things better for them. I was not expecting Natural Tron. Chromatic Sphere, so we're not going to swing with that Mandrills. We are going to Tarfire them in the face. And we are kind of just shy of lethal here. Breeding Pool, if we find a Bolt... We did not find a Bolt. Another Visions I will keep. Okay, we're going to want a Forked Bolt. We definitely swing with Aberration. The nice thing is that they probably have to swing with this Wormcoil Engine, which means if they don't have any follow-up threats, we might be in a good spot. Shocking puts us to 13, which isn't quite 2-turn lethal, so I don't mind Shocking here. We are going to hold up the Spell Snare just in case. I think we Shock, we Forked Bolt them, knock them down to 3, and then pass the turn. Pretty unlikely that Spell Snare matters. It's not very good against Tron, but it might. It might. Wormcoil Engine, very good against us. The main reason we bring in a bunch of artifact hate post-board against Tron. I don't think they can afford to not swing if they don't have an answer to that aberration. They probably swing even if they do have an answer. Just because it means they gain 6 for sure. Also puts us on a clock, which is good. Good for them at least. Bad for us. I like having clocks, not being on one. Basic Forest doesn't really tell us anything about what we're playing against here. Ugin. Yeah, we're dead. Well, we were close. Ugin is pretty much lights out. If we had any way of answering Ugin, we would have been in a decent spot. Still wouldn't have straight up won unless that's a burn spell. It's a Serum Visions. We knew about that, drawing us into Simic Charm, which could theoretically save us from this. They're going to swing with the Wormcoil. Do we have any out here? If we draw Nux, Nux plus Mandrills next turn can deal 8, but that's not going to kill them. Also, they're gaining 6 a turn. We don't have an out. We are dead. What about Simic Charm? We play Mandrills. They're going to gain 6. We're going to Simic Charm. Yeah, we're just very dead. We were a turn behind on this one. We could play out the Mandrills. They already know we're running it, so there's nothing particularly wrong with that. Delve away the Visions. That's fine. Go to the opponent. Maybe we'll find out if they're on Black Tron, Red Tron, or just straight up green. Green-white was pretty popular while Dredge was a big deck, so I could see them being on that, although it's pretty unlikely. Ulamog, that is definitely lights out. Sure. They are going to knock us down to 1 with the Wormcoil, bolt us with Ugin, and we're going to head to the sideboard. Hopefully we can do some work against this. Might just be mono green Tron. That has been running around for a bit these days. I'm not sure what the advantage of that over green-black is, given that green-black gives you Fatal Push, Collective Brutality, which seem really good in Tron's bad matchups. But I guess you don't want those in Tron's good matchups. Let's see how we're going to board for this. We definitely want Blood Moons. We're gonna want the Spreading Seas. We want to try to cut them off of their mana. Ceremonious Rejection, I believe Deprive and Click as well. Yes, we are just bringing in all sorts of disruption here. Artifact Hate, like I said, Answering Wormcoil is good. Hooting Mandrills has Trample, so you can get them to block. Then answer the Wormcoil engine, and then all of Mandrill's damage goes through, which is fantastic. That's all we really want here. Sweepers are bad. Huntmasters are slow. Death Touch isn't really good when the opponent's Wormcoil has Death Touch and makes more dudes. And EE just doesn't hit that much stuff. What are we going to board out? One Snapcaster Mage because it's also a little slow. Forked Bolt and Lightning Bolt, just one of the good bolts. We like having Sunburn. I don't want to have too much of it though because it's sometimes dead. Roast gonna come out, Dismember gonna come out. We have better answers for creatures. Thragtusk could be a bit of a pain. Mostly it's ETB is the problem. Simic Charm gonna go. It is very versatile, but we really just want to get them dead, basically. Both Spell Snares going to come out because it hits things like Cobrew and Sylvan Scrying, but they just don't have enough cards that it hits. And we're going to board out one Mana Leak, effectively being swapped with Deprive, just because Deprive's a little better here, I think. If we had room for it, we'd probably keep both. This hand seems quite fine. I don't know if I want to slam Goyf or Spreading Seas on turn 2, but we're slamming one of them. And I'm excited for that. A lot of very good cards here. We're going to start off on the Serum Visions. We're obviously getting Breeding Pool. We have green cards that we definitely want to cast here. Blood Moon, well, Misty Rainforest means we could cast Blood Moon. We're not cracking the Misty for a little while. We also don't need the Mana Leak. So I don't think it actually matters which one is on top. Neither is being used next turn, given that we're not holding up Mana Leak when we could be slamming Tarmogoyf or Spreading Seas. That just seems silly. Basic Forest, we're probably not going to fight with Spreading Seas, so I believe we're going to be starting on Tarmogoyf here. Let's get rid of the Flooded Strand. And Tarmogoyf time. Goyf's not going to be a great clock, but it'll hopefully be something of a clock. Relic's going to be a bit hard to play around in this spot, but if we hit a Thought Scour, we should be just fine to slam that Mandrills. I almost want to Spreading Seas their Forest. They blew Relic right away. Wow, they're desperate. Okay, well, Spreading Seas on the Forest just got a lot worse. We are going to draw Mana Leak. Blood Moon, probably not ideal here. We're definitely playing out the land. I kind of want to crack it right now just to grow this Tarmogoyf, so we could get some damage in. We're going to want to Mana Leak their next spell. Next turn, we probably use Spreading Seas on something. If we play out the Blood Moon, then Mandrills is off, and that just seems really bad. On the other hand, if we crack this for a Steam Vents right now, or would we get a Stomping Ground? Would we get a Stomping Ground? Traverse makes the double green a lot more relevant, but I don't think it's that relevant. I'm great. How are you, Baggy Trouser? That is just a fantastic name. I love that. I think we want to crack this so Goyf can get in for a point of damage. We lost match 1 against Bloodbraid Jund, so we could be better. But we're trying against Tron here. Oh, I should update OBS. I'm terrible. We're going to crack this. I want to get damage in. We are going to get this tapped, I believe. Conserve our life total just a touch. We probably don't need both of these counters. And while the opponent takes their turn, I'm going to let the record reflect that we are not in match 1. We're also down a game in this match, but hopefully that's not going to be too relevant. Do we Mana Leak Sylvan Scrying? We definitely Mana Leak Sylvan Scrying. Do we Denial it? Denial is very far from being on here, And if we keep them off of Tron, Mana Leak's going to be good for a while. I'm doing this. I think that is the line we want. Another Blood Moon. Still don't think we want to slam that. I'm getting a little closer to just playing that Spreading Seas to draw a card. But I think we're going to keep holding up Mana Leak here. They crack map. This could be a good spot to use the Spreading Seas, given that they just got their first Tron land. Yes, we know about this, so we don't need to see it. Do we have anything to do? We do not. Hooting Mandrills, we're not going to be able to seize and play a threat. We might just hit another land, though, which means we can hold up Mana Leak, so that could be something. It's an Ancient Grudge. That'll be fun later. Expedition Map makes Tarmogoyf a 4/5. Alright, so we now have an actual clock, so that's good. We're getting a lot closer to just slamming a Blood Moon, I think. Sylvan Scrying. The downside to slamming Blood Moon means the opponent gets to resolve a Thragtusk unimpeded. They got another tower, sure. Chromatic Star, that's fine. I feel like slamming Blood Moon is not where we want to be right this second. The opponent's going through their deck a lot. We're definitely not out of the woods. That first relic, well actually it was the only relic, but that early relic really slowed us down. Basic Forest, do we slam Blood Moon now? Now I'm regretting playing out that Stubborn Denial instead of the Mana Leak. Then again, we have the option to hold up Mana Leak to counter a Thragtusk. We're definitely swinging. That's the easy part. We could cast a Blood Moon. That's not going to cut us off of anything in the long term, but it's going to mean a Thragtusk can resolve unimpeded, which is bad. I think Thragtusk is the only thing I'm actually concerned about at this point. What are our other options? Blood Moon, Mana Leak, hold up Blood Moon, Mandrills, hold up Disruption. Do what? Blood Moon? I need confirmation on that. Blood Moon could be good. I don't like that Thragtusk makes not having Mana Leak up look a lot worse. We do get to follow it up with a Mandrills next turn, so that's not so bad. I guess we could just hope they don't have Thragtusk in hand. Yeah, I think we hold up the Mana Leak. I don't like it. I think it's what we have to do. If they have Thragtusk, I'm going to be really sad. Thragtusk lets them draw this out by quite a bit. Alright, well that just makes me feel warm and tingly inside. Absolutely warm and tingly. Also makes me happy that we used the Denial earlier. Another turn, yeah, well, we definitely don't have to worry about Tron yet. I'm just more concerned with figuring out a way to sequence these in time. Serum Visions is probably exactly where we want to be. We don't have Mana Leak available anymore, so I'm pretty sure we're just going to be slamming cards right now. Is there a sorcery in the bin? There is. Visions might draw us into a Tarfire, though, which is lethal, so I think we're leading on this. Deprive pretty much means we don't want to slam Blood Moon, I think. Oh, no, we can't play Mandrills and hold up Deprive. That would just be having our cake and eating it, too. I think we just hold up Deprive and we basically can't lose. Don't think we can lose this one if we have Deprive available. Thragtusk, that's going to get countered. Blue, bounce the island. What's a drawback? And that does it for game 2. Alright. Yes, Deprive is now in the sideboard. I think it was before I started streaming, just before I started streaming. It's in the sideboard over the old Ceremonious Rejection. We have Ceremonious Rejection back in the sideboard. I made a few changes back and forth, not gonna lie. I took out Rejection and another card for Caller, Rejection and Flash Freeze for Basilisk Caller, and deprive. Something came out for Ceremonious Rejection to come back in recently. I believe it was Ravenous Trap, because I'm not really into Ravenous Trap right now. Not enough graveyard decks running around to make it worth it. I think we're going to run this back. Being on the draw, obviously not going to be great for us, but there's not really a way around that. We don't have Deprive mana, or Blood Moon mana, or a threat. I think this hand is just really bad. I'm going to mulligan this. I'm assuming everybody's on board with that. We still have enough time. Yeah, I'm going to take a mulligan. This is better. This is way better. Don't want that. We have enough lands, thank you, deck. I appreciate the offering, but we don't really need Stomping Ground right now. That's just wonderful. Turn 1 Delver, definitely where we want to be against Tron. Do they just have it? They might not. They probably do. Oh, well, they didn't get to cast anything off of that, so I guess they were hoping to draw into an Ancient Stirrings. That's great. Misty Rainforest, less great. Alright, we can hold up Deprive here, but I think we want to slam Tarmogoyf. Holding up Deprive doesn't seem great because it means we're holding up Deprive for a while. We also have the unique opportunity to pray that they just don't have natural Tron right now. And honestly, this is pretty much the... Well, I mean, we have a lot of lands, so we could theoretically have a window to slam this Goyf down the line, but that probably happens on turn 4 since Denial isn't online. So if we hold up Deprive now, we're locking ourselves in... Actually, the downside on Deprive would be very relevant on turn 2. I'm going to get a basic Forest. I think we basically just have no real decision besides slam Tarmogoyf, hope for the best. If they have a Karn here, we basically just cry ourselves to sleep. Wormcoil Engine, also going to be very bad for us. Well, they had Tron. And which one is it? It's Wormcoil. We do have outs to that. We could hit Ancient Grudge. Wooded Foothills is not Ancient Grudge. Uh-oh, indeed. Uh-oh, indeed. I'm going to play out the Misty so that we can get a basic island and cast that Deprive. Right now, we are basically just not doing anything at all. We are going to take 6 a turn while the opponent gains 6 a turn. Definitely where you want to be against Tron. Is that an Ulamog? Because we could counter the 10-10, but... that basically just makes it even harder for us to win. I think we have to deprive that. Then again, they get to resolve a Karn once we deprive that, but if this resolves, they keep on Wormcoiling. This is game 3, unfortunately. If we let this Oblivion Stone resolve, they're just going to casually Wormcoil us, put a Feint counter on the Wormcoil next turn. Actually, they can do that this turn if they elect to not try to slam a Karn or another Wormcoil, which means then they get to untap, blow up our board, keep their 6/6. If we let this resolve, we need to hope that we top deck Ancient Grudge basically immediately. Then again, is Karn worse for us than Oblivion Stone? I think it might be. I think I actually might let this resolve just on the off chance that we can maybe survive if the top of our deck is stacked. If we counter this, they do have a chance to slam something. Also puts an instant in the yard for Goyf, which is good. Then again, it's going to be that much harder. I'm just going to counter it. Bounce the island. I don't think we're winning this one. They probably had the Karn by the looks of it. It's just another Wormcoil Engine. Well, that's debatably worse. Mana Leak, okay. Do we even show them that? We have to block now. Well, we could trade our board for a Wormcoil Engine. Yes, I agree with the gross. So what we had to do there was let the Oblivion Stone resolve, suck it up, counter the second threat. I'm not sure if that was actually the right line, but it's definitely the better line for how this turned out. We countered the second threat. We're still drawing Mana Leak, which is straight up terrible here. I think we just have no out. We're gonna chump. Still think you made the right play. I don't know. They had 4 cards in hand. It's pretty likely, I think, that they have something good. I'm gonna swing with this Aberration just because we only need to block one dude. Yeah, they could have just used the O-Stone to put a Fate counter on the Wormcoil. So they're going to swing with both. We're going to chump with our Tarmogoyf. We'll go to 3. And now we are going to top deck Ancient Grudge into I have no idea and just have the best sequencing you've ever seen. We're also somehow going to beat the opponent who has 34 life. Sanctum of Ugin, sure, so they're just going to have threats for days. Did I forget to play an island out? I think I forgot to play an island out. That was obviously a misplay. It also obviously doesn't matter here. We're just really dead, so I'm going to let Aberration have its day. Alright, well, 0-2 is not a good way to start, but you know what? I've had a lot of 0-2 and then comeback leagues, so this isn't the worst. Actually, it technically is the worst as far as how you could be positioned after precisely 2 matches, but we'll ignore that technicality. Let's go to -9. Alright, I'm going to update OBS so that everyone knows we're not having the best league. And let's see what we can do. We are going to head into the... Wow, that was fast. Okay. I'm going to pull up the deck anyways for anyone who wants to take a quick gander at it. Nothing changed since last time, but if you're not caught up, here's the sideboard. You got a Basilisk Collar in the back here hiding away. Spreading Seas, Rejection. Any real shifts in the sideboard? Not a lot recently. How good is this hand? It has a lot of stuff. We're on the draw, which makes it a lot worse. This Traverse is kind of likely to do something, though. I think this is just the kind of balanced hand that you can keep. Oh, Reality Shift. I'm just going to look that... Oh, I know what that is. I have seen that card before. We are playing against Elves, which makes me very happy to have this Tarfire in my hand. We're probably just going to shock. Yes. And we are going to kill the Mana Dork. Being on the play here would have been fantastic, because we would be able to untap and Mana Leak their next play. But Mana Leak might get some value out. Reality Shift. Do I like this card? It exiles target creature for 2 mana at instant speed, 1 in blue, and its controller gets to manifest their top card, which is going to make them a 2/2. I'm not sure. I haven't tried it. We get to draw a card. We could fetch, scour, slam Mandrills, which we might actually want to do. Yeah, I think that's the play. Fetch puts a second card in the bin. Scour's going to put 3 more. That's 5. Do we want a basic island here? It's probably fine for now. We'll decide what lands we actually want with the last fetch. We're going to nuke that graveyard, get a clock down. It definitely would be nice against Wormcoil. Maybe I will try it out. Reality Shift doesn't sound like the worst. I don't like the inherent card disadvantage, but it exiles creatures, which is definitely something good. It is unconditional removal for fatties, which I like. I might try it. I could see running it. We're going to fetch out another island here, I think. I want to use this Thought Scour for sure. I'm not sure if I want to slam a Tarmogoyf. Snap Roast could be very nice for next turn. This makes 2 mana, this makes 1 mana, they have another 3. Chances are Mana Leak's not doing much. I think we're just gonna get the clock going. Let them do their stuff unimpeded for now, and then we'll try to Snap Roast something. We're basically gonna be playing a tap-out mid-range deck for the next couple of turns here. I don't think Mana Leak is going to be very profitable. I like countering Coco, but they'll just pass to our turn for that. I do like the idea of reality shifting a Wormcoil Engine, but we have a lot of cards that I board in for Tron that are also very good at answering Wormcoil Engine. I'm just going to pull up the list here for a second. Revelry, Ancient Grudge, counter it before it comes down. If we can answer their mana ahead of time, that's great. That's technically it besides counters, but... So we don't have that many answers to Wormcoil, but I don't know how many you actually want. This is great. Them playing out just a Mana Dork, also great. Yes, the being able to answer Death Shadow, Tasigur, Tarmogoyf, and the like is definitely a much bigger pull for me to want to try out Reality Shift than answering Wormcoil is. We're going to swing here because we need to clock the Elves deck. If we just let them build up a board and then slam an Azuri, we're going to die. I don't know about you guys. I don't like dying. It's something I'm just philosophically against. I happen to love clocking people. I should have cracked that earlier, obviously. Do we want double red? We don't need it. I'm just going to fetch a land tapped, I think. I will get double red just because Bolt Snap Bolt is certainly relevant. I want to draw something besides Hooting Mandrills here, and I like the idea of having Mana Leak up. Here's a Coco that we can't counter. So maybe we should have just given up on the Mana Leak plan. That looks like Snap Roast would have been much better. We could have Snap Roasted this. Although they probably would have Coco'd in response, hit this Azuri, and then regenerated it anyways. But it's something. They have a big board here. And this is the reason I wanted to swing there. What do we got? Lightning Bolt. Okay. Okay. We can Bolt Azuri. They have plenty of mana, so that's not good yet. We might just be dead. We're probably just dead, in all honesty. They tap this, and it's enough for everything else to swing. I might try to kill this, but they're just going to regenerate it. That is a big swing. That is a big swing that we cannot answer. What's the play? They are going to overrun, which means they are going to have way too much power. I believe we're just straight up dead. We can bolt something in response to the overrun, so that's relevant. Snapcaster Mage is exactly 1 point of toughness, so it's not very important. Although maybe I should have done them. They get to overrun twice. Yeah, we're just super dead. We're not beating double overrun. We went to -12. We would have taken out, say, Azuri with the bolt, so that would have been 6 less, so we would have been at -6, and then they overrun a second time, and we're super dead. Let's see. I don't believe I have a plan for Elves specifically, but I am very cognizant of go-wide aggro decks when I build my sideboard. We're going to want Destructive Revelry because sometimes they run artifacts. I believe... Is Cloudstone Curio the one? There's an artifact that lets Elves combo in another way. I don't remember which one it is. I think it just untaps Elves. I'm not positive. Probably has something to do with Nettle Sentinel, but that untaps itself. I don't remember. They also run Choke historically, and with Jason the format, Choke is a lot more likely to be showing up. So I don't mind having that. Spreading Seas looks bad. Let's not board in any of these blue cards. Ancient Grudge bad, Blood Moon bad, Sweeper's good, Huntmaster good, Gain Life. On the topic of gaining life, I don't really hate the idea of boarding in Basilisk Collar. Gaining life against these decks is pretty nice. Death Touch could also be relevant. I think I want to try it. What are we boarding out? Simic Charm. Very, very slow. Probably Mana Leak. Probably Mana Leak. Denial isn't the worst because of cards like Cord, Company. Spell Snare can probably go. Hits Dwynen's Elite. Not much beyond that. I want all of the burn spells. No way those are going. Nux probably gets chumped for days, so that can leave. Snapcaster Mage is probably good. Curious Obsession I don't mind cutting. I do want to clock the opponent, but that's not going to be great a lot of the time. Probably want all the Mandrills. Dismember's going to cost us some life, but I think that's worth it. I'd be more likely to cut the Roast, just because it's sorcery speed. Maybe we just give up on Revelry. Or we cut a Mana Leak. I don't mind cutting one Mana Leak. Let's give that a go. We're on the play. What do we got? Well, it's good. It is certainly worth running. I don't know if it's going to get there, but... the game did not go well. The game did not go well. We clocked the Elves player as best we could, then they end-step companied with enough mana to make Mana Leak irrelevant, and had a very big board with an Azuri. And mana to overrun twice. That's the important thing. Double overrun. If they had the single overrun, we could have bolted Azuri with the overrun on the stack, and we would have been A-okay. We're going to bolt that. Being on the play against Mana Dork decks, very different than being on the draw. Rest in peace indeed. Let's take out that. Untap. And we may very well just slam a Hooting Mandrills. That's probably the play. Hold up Tarfire or slam Hooting Mandrills. Slam Hooting Mandrills is pretty well strictly superior. I believe I want to get a Stomping Ground here because of Anger of the Gods in the deck. So I am going to Fetch Shock another time, although that is being quite liberal with the life total. I do think it's worth playing around. Let's Thought Scour. Wanted to Fetch Shock first so that we didn't mill the Stomping Ground. And what are we going to get rid of here? One land. Lightning Bolt technically could go. We have to take out 2 more cards anyways. Sorceries are less common than lands, and I feel like we just want the Lightning Bolt. Or do I want to be more cognizant of Traverse? You know what? Traverse is actually going to be pretty likely to turn on, thanks to that Tarfire. So I think we're going to leave that where it is. Next turn, we probably want to play the Breeding Pool tapped and then go Delver plus Tarfire. That, of course, depends on what we draw, but that looks like the default line. Whatever we do has to be equal to or better than that. Rest in peace. Well, that just makes me ecstatic to have slammed that Hooting Mandrills there. I also kind of have trouble believing that Elves boards in Rest in Peace against us. Do we just shock now so that we could have a huge clock? I feel like that's the right play. We're going to swing first. It's going to put us low, but the opponent has literally nothing going on. We get to hold up Tarfire and present a minimum of 6 power. Pretty sure we're in race mode. Traverse obviously is going to be quite bad at this point, but do we really care about Traverse at this point? We're definitely ahead on tempo. Could be a Mana Dork. Maybe it's not a Mana Dork. It's probably a Mana Dork. Well, they untapped the forest. Who knows? They are probably thinking. It's Heritage Druid. That is one of my favorite things to bolt. That's going to resolve. If they try to play another elf, Heritage Druid goes down immediately. As is, we'll wait a moment. Anger of the Gods makes me kind of want to have Tarfired earlier, but we don't want to cast Anger of the Gods anyways, because our board is better than the opponent's. So I don't think there's actually a reason to use this Starfire yet. What do we got? Come on, Delvers. Oh, Path? Alright. That is fair. We cannot interact with that, so that's going to happen. Let's grab an island. Snapcaster Mage. That's very bad here. That is very bad here. I don't think we're going to swing with the Delvers because they're going to represent a lot of damage. I am willing to take out this Heritage Druid. I don't think we need a 5th land, so I'm not going to bother casting that Traverse. I think I'd rather have a very bad Ambush Viper available. That was a very good Path to Exile. Rest in Peace technically doing work at making Snapcaster Mage worse. Oh, we probably just flash this in anyways. They're going to make a dude. How long until this is online? 5 creatures. Once that gets online, we're probably dead. We boarded out Simic Charm, so I don't believe we have an answer in the main deck to that. There's the Simic Charm. Land Hate's not here. What do we got? Delvers? Huntmaster. Well, that's basically the next best thing. I do believe we're going to use this Traverse here. Just because we're going to be able to cast Huntmaster anyways. Gets it out of our hand in case we go cantrip into Huntmaster next turn. Doesn't really matter which land. Triple red, triple green, or quadruple blue. I don't believe any of it matters. Mountain, island, forest. Let's get triple red, why not? And I believe we are going to swing with that Snapcaster Mage. Just so that we could keep their bodies in check somewhat. I almost want to swing with the Delvers as well, but Dwynen Elite makes that obviously terrible. Huntmaster is going to do a very good job of taking over this game if they don't have another removal spell. Snapcaster might just trade with that Elf token, but it also might not. They're going to crack Horizon Canopy. That's good for them. Horizon Canopy, great card. Elvish Mystic, not scary. Alright. We probably want to pass the turn unless we have a wicked sorcery speed play here. Tarmogoyf. That's not wicked. That is not wicked. No, thank you. Alright, we do not want to swing with the Huntmaster of the Fells, because that is too valuable to trade away. I believe in Delver. These are going to transform, and they're going to do great amounts of work. We're going to swing with Snapcaster Mage and the Wolf token. I am pretty okay with these getting in for 2 damage each. I'm also pretty okay with trading them away to keep the opponent's board in check. Huntmaster's also going to help with the whole keeping board in check thing by transforming here. Dwynen's Elite is probably the most valuable card they have. If they hit another Dwynen's Elite, Westvale Abbey turns on. How much mana does that require? 5? 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe we should hit one of these elves. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we actually hit an elf. Just so that if they hit Dwynen's Elite, they don't get to animate this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right now. Yeah, I'm going to shoot an elf. I think that's ever so slightly better. I don't think they have good attacks. We have quite a bit of life right now. So I don't think I would block with anything besides the Ravager. Elves doesn't have damage-based removal, so there's nothing to worry about along those lines. Delver. Your time to shine. What do we got? Prove everyone wrong. Delver? Traverse. There we go. See? You just gotta believe in the 1/1 that could. And people don't like Delver as a card. Completely ridiculous, right? We're gonna head back to the sideboard, and, well, that went well, but do we want to change anything? A lot of stuff went right for us there, besides the whole Delvers being exceedingly rude for the majority of that game. Earlier on, they were okay, I think. Gotta say, I don't remember much from game 1. My memory kind of goes, I know what's happening, as soon as I focus on the next game, blank. We lost to Azuri. Yeah, finally, right? They got there. This little guy got there. Or was it this little guy? It was 2 of these 4. I don't think... Thank you. I don't believe we want to change anything. Being on the draw is certainly going to be worse. I might cut that other mana leak. Destructive Revelry becomes slightly more useful now that we know they're willing to board in Rest in Peace against us. Maybe we want to cut a Snapcaster Mage because of that? I'm not cutting any Tarmogoyfs or Mandrills. Traverse at worst fixes our lands, helps us slam our bombs. So that's not the worst. Is there anything better than Mana Leak or Snapcaster Mage in this sideboard? Simic Charm answers that land that transforms into a very big demon. Amindal, I want to say. I don't think we really want to play around that specifically, though, because they also have Azuri that we need to worry about. Both of which are extremely good when they have a massive board. So we're going to focus on not letting them have a massive board. Probably the better play. Spreading Seas seems bad. Don't really want any more counters. Any ideas? Maybe a Spell Snare? Anyone think we have something better than Snapcaster Mage and or Mana Leak? I could see cutting either of these on the draw. Destructive Revelry, pretty easy to cut too, but I think that's somewhat fine. It's only 1 copy. If we draw it, it might be dead, but at least it's only 1 dead card. And it might also be very good. So I don't hate running it, I don't love running it, but it's there. Spell Snare could be better than Leak, but I feel like I don't want that over these. Maybe we just run this. It is better against Rest in Peace. Maybe we cut Snapcaster Mage for it? Snapcaster Mage obviously very good if they don't have Rest in Peace in play. Maybe we just cut the Mana Leak. We'll hope that Stubborn Denial can keep the collected companies in check long enough for us to do our thing. Well, it's an aggressive hand. And it has 2 Delvers. I think this is a begrudging keep. Yeah, this is a begrudging keep. Does Elves usually play fetch lands? I guess if they're focusing more heavily on the green-white aspect, that makes sense. Don't think I've ever seen an Elves deck with fetch lands, though. Well, there's our green source. Little unfortunate that we can't answer this elf, but I don't really like the idea of mulliganing a perfectly good 7 in the hopes that we find a bolt effect. So I believe we're going to hope to race and maybe visions into something very good. I do like that this hand laughs at Rest in Peace. Devoted Druid. Oh, I forgot that's a very good reason for Elves to be on white. The Devoted Druid combo. Snapcaster Mage not going to get revealed. Well, we're laughing a lot less at Rest in Peace. I kind of just want to get a Steam Vents and then Serum Visions here. Don't think I want to slam Goyf just yet. I want to find some interaction. Pyroclasm, perfectly good interaction. Wooded Foothills a lot worse. Makes me not want to slam that Delver. I do think we attack, because we don't have much reason not to attack. They probably just snap block anyways, but we're going to get in there. Yep. And I might just play out that Basilisk Collar. Just because we don't have much better to do. I don't want to Thought Scour away Pyroclasm. I think that's just certainly the wrong play. If they just combo off here, we are in fact dead. But it's extremely unlikely that that happens. And I also don't have anything we can do against that, even if we decide to Scour away the Pyroclasm on top. So we're going to see what the opponent's up to. Chances are we have a good Pyroclasm in our future. One that will follow up a Delver of Secrets, transforming into an Insectile Aberration and getting in for a hit. We probably slam the second Delver as a follow-up to the Pyroclasm. Oh, do they not have another land? Oh my. Well, that's certainly interesting. Now, the opponent could use Devoted Druid to produce 2 mana in order to Coco in response to Pyroclasm, which they might want to do. On the other hand, they also really might not, just because we probably Pyroclasm everything that gets Coco'd in. But if they don't, they also have basically nothing going on. So I think that's still the line. Attack with the Aberration, Pyroclasm, see what happens? Definitely want to swing here. Don't want to give up 3 points of damage. Let's cast this. See what happens. Don't think there's a reason to not cast that. Yep. Stubborn Denial would be crazy here. Oh, they're going to float the mana. See, I didn't think of that. That makes a lot of sense. Alright, well, they're still in it. They are definitely still in it. We 2-for-2'd, and we slowed down the Elves player a little bit. Well, Heritage Druid is not good for us. If we hit a land, it might be Snap Pyroclasm here. 4 mana, another Coco? Selfless Spirit, that's very good. That is very good. That puts us in a lot of trouble. Huntmaster, not going to reveal that. We actually swing with this Delver of Secrets, I think, given that I'd be happy to trade with either of these. We also might Scour here. It's debatable that we should have scoured this away, actually. We swing with the Delver of Secrets. We almost certainly just get in a point of damage. We also might not swing with it in case they don't have Azuri so that it could chump. I kind of want to Scour here because the only real play we have is Tarmogoyf. I think we should have Scoured before drawing the Huntmaster, given that we can't play it yet. Well, now that we found a land, I'm a lot happier to have the Huntmaster, but that's besides the point. Don't think I want to hold up Snap Denial. I do think I want to slam this Tarmogoyf. Alright, so Goyf can slowly gain us some life here, but the opponent has the ability to make a lot of mana. Specifically 4 a turn off of their creatures, plus 1 for that land. I don't think we have any reason to attack now that I've considered the appeal of chump blocking. So I do think we just pass here. I don't think the opponent wants to block, so I don't think attacking is good. Snap Pyroclasm answers Selfless Spirit, but that is not enough. We're going to need 2 removal spells here. That's very good. Archdruid is not the one that gives Forest Walk. That's Elvish Champion. Azuri. Okay. Well, it's time to... How do we get out of this? We draw a Lightning Bolt. We draw a Lightning Bolt and we Bolt Snap Bolt. That is our out. Otherwise, we're likely just dead. Think I want to fetch a land tapped here. What do we got, Delver? It's a Wooded Foothills. Well, that's not going to do it. Alright, if we play the Huntmaster, how many elves do they have? I think they only overrun once. They're going to tap 2-2, 2-2, 2-2. This isn't an elf. It doesn't really matter. Does it get big? It does not get big. So this is 2. This is going to be, what is it, +3? So 5, 8, 7. Sorry, this is 7, 7, and 8. And then 2. So we're looking at 14 plus 10, 24 damage. We can soak up 6 of it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we are very dead. We're going to play this Foothills so we can pretend we have a Lightning Bolt in hand. And we're going to play out this Huntmaster. But I believe we're looking at 0-3 here. Selfless Spirit, very good for the opponent. I like that. I think playing the Huntmaster is ever so slightly better than equipping the Basilisk Collar to the Tarmogoyf, because Huntmaster gains us 2 life and makes 4 toughness, which saves us another 2 life. Path, that pretty well just puts everything over the edge. Yeah, we'll get a land. Alright, we're going to want to block before they overrun. We are super duper dead. Alright. Wait, they can overrun with the Archdruid. That makes sense. I was very confused for a moment there. Although we still almost certainly lose, even if they don't overrun here, because we lose our entire board. Well, we are 0-3. That's alright, though. We'll see how we do in the next couple. Let's update OBS. Can't win them all, unfortunately. If we could win them all, well, I'd be pretty ecstatic. Let's go to the next match. Not playing 2 leagues in a row. That is a lot of magic. Although that does sound at least a little bit enticing. Well, let's head back to the deck while we wait to find an opponent. Don't think I want to build my sideboard specifically for the Elves matchup. It's entirely possible we didn't want Basilisk Collar and instead wanted, say, Spell Snare to stay in. I could see that as being possible. Maybe we want to keep Mana Leak as more answers to Coco. I'm not sure. It was very rough. I like Basilisk Collar. I don't know if I like it against Elves. The life gain isn't as relevant as it is against most aggro decks because of the overrun. That is a definite downside. How long are we waiting? Okay, we're just over a minute in. I can't really complain that much. Yeah, I complained and it worked, so there you go. Alright, we're on the draw. Let's get some graveyards up here. How is this hand? It's a keep. We have a bunch of threats and a bolt. Also 2 lands. Very important to have lands. We are not playing the kind of deck that can operate without lands. Basic Swamp. Could be a lot of stuff. Thoughtseize. That narrows it down a little bit. It's a discard deck. Makes me glad our hand is so redundant. They could take the Lightning Bolt. Or the Snapcaster Mage. Those are the only cards that are really different. These are all just straight up try to get you dead threats. But Lightning Bolt probably doesn't do that much against a Thoughtseize deck. Maybe Shadow once they get their life total low enough. It is good against some of Jun's threats, so I could see that. Delver into Goyf into more stuff, though. Definitely something they're going to want to answer, so I don't think they're going to be that interested in taking out the Bolt. I feel like it's much better for them to take a threat and just try to work through our hand. They appear to be thinking about it. In the meantime, back to the list. What are we looking at here? We're up against a discard deck. Things we're going to want to do. Slam threats and try to kill them. Counterspells aren't very good against discard decks. I outlined that earlier in the stream. I also probably talk about that just about every time we board out counterspells. We really want to see Traverse for more threats, just drawing more threats. Snapcaster Mage, good because it's card advantage. They chose Tarmogoyf, we drew Tarmogoyf. I think we're going to want to Fetch Shock here, because I want to play around Smallpox at least a little bit. We don't have much of a reason not to Fetch Shock, so I don't think we really have a reason to get basics. They didn't do anything, which I like a lot. Oh, I guess they clicked through it. That sucks. That sucks a lot. Also, kind of breaks the integrity of the match, because even if I pass to them without doing anything, it's not going to be the same as if they actually took their turn. Delver plus Scour. Delver plus Scour is not bad. Slamming Goyf, also not bad. Not sure which I want to do. Delver lets us also hold up Lightning Bolt, which is something. Tarmogoyf's probably just the superior threat, though. I'll play the Delver of Secrets. Give it a little extra chance to transform. That's something good. We have a nice clock going. The opponent could just answer both of these threats. In which case, we probably Fetch Shock for a Breeding Pool, Thought Scour to gas back up, and slam more threats. If they go push plus or push plus bolt, or otherwise answer both of these into a Liliana next turn, we're going to be very upset. Not sure. Well, I guess we don't really have much of a use of thinking about that until they play more stuff. Wooded Foothills makes this look more and more like Jund. Could be a 4-color Shadow deck. Guess we'll find out. They know about everything but Tarmogoyf and Scour. Tarmogoyf of their own, that's going to resolve. I think we're just going to get a land tapped here. I might actually get a Stomping Ground and Bolt Face just so we could clock as hard as possible. I actually like that a lot. We have a Snapcaster Mage in hand. We're doing that. What do we got, Delver? If it's a land, we have Snap Bolt. If it's an instant or sorcery, we knock them down to 3. A lot of good things can be seen here. Forest, sure. We're going to get in for 3. No use in sacrificing Delver to the Tarmogoyf. And I think we're just going to play a bunch of stuff. If they have Hand Disruption to answer our Snapcaster Mage, chances are they're not answering this board. So I'm pretty sure they're just between a rock and a hard place right now. Does look like we're playing against Jund. Catacombs? The opponent also seems inclined to fetch out basics, although they might just be trying to conserve their life total here. This could be a Maelstrom Pulse? Not sure what they're playing on 3. Not a lot of 3s in Jund that are not Liliana of the Veil. Kolaghan's Command? That's something. How good's Kolaghan's Command here? We just discard the Thought Scour. Keep the Snapcaster Mage, because that's excellent. Maelstrom Pulse. That's fine. Can't do a lot against that. I might want to Scour right here, just because if we Scour on our upkeep to Delver Scry, that means we don't have Snap Bolt available, and I kind of really want a Snap Bolt. Yeah, let's Scour now. Nux. What do we got, Delver? Tarmogoyf. Not going to reveal that. Huh. I don't know what the play is. I feel like we slam a Tarmogoyf. Probably the best thing to do. It also might be good to slam this Savage Knuckleblade just because it doesn't die to Fatal Push. But then again, we have a bunch of threats here that die to Fatal Push. The other thing is that's slightly more mana efficient. But chances are next turn we're not doing much besides casting Tarmogoyf or going Snap Bolt, so I don't know how relevant that actually is. I might swing with both of these, just because they're either dead or Delver gets in, so I think that's actually the best play we have here. It's ever so slightly better than not attacking. Yup. We could Snap Bolt that Tarmogoyf. But I think I'd rather knock the opponent down to 1. Should we just do that now? I think we're better off playing the Tarmogoyf. Probably. Yeah, let's play the Tarmogoyf. It's probably the best threat we have for now. The opponent could get back into this if they manage to deal with our stuff. It's also possible we don't want to play out the Tarmogoyf in case they go Maelstrom Pulse on all the Tarmogoyfs. Push Delver. That puts us in a pretty bad spot. This looks like Lily. Oh, it's Bloodbraid. Okay. That could get them back into this. Another Goyf, sure. Yeah, that's pretty good. Clogs up the ground, that's for sure. They probably don't want to attack here, but it clogs up the ground very nicely. Alright, Delver, what do you got? Mana Leak, fantastic. We knew we'd get there eventually. It was just a matter of, is this going to transform before the opponent manages to catch up? And let's get this out. Bolt them. Let's head to game 2. Alright, we're playing against BBE Jund for the second time this league. For those of you who did not catch the first match, it didn't go well for us. That's kind of technically a spoiler since this is going to end up on YouTube, but yeah. Apologies for anyone who wanted to find out how the Jund match how the earlier Jund match went. But you guys can watch that to get the details, so it's not the end of the world. We're going to board in a bunch of mana hate, lot of cards that are kind of hard to answer in the form of Huntmaster and Vendilion Click, and we're going to try to board out some counterspells. Also some Thought Scours. We want our top decks to be very good. We're going to keep one Denial just because there's only so much stuff we actually want. Submit that. Hopefully we take this one too. It would be nice to get on the board. I can't say I like being 0-3. Mostly because it means we have to pay for the next league, but what are you going to do? We're going to try to get some threats down and kill some fatties. EE some Goyfs. Maybe Basilisk Collar does some work. Maybe we're going to cut them off of mana. Yeah, people will probably watch the other one first. You're right. I'm just talking about anyone who comes to the stream now and sees this one and then goes, oh, cool, we played against Jund earlier, and then goes, oh, well, now I know how the earlier Jund match went. But I guess I have the record at the top there, so that's moot. Spoilers for everybody. If anyone doesn't want the record because of potential spoilers, feel free to give me feedback on that. The opponent is probably thinking about sideboarding. One thing I noticed was our opponent here fetched out their basics quite aggressively. To be fair, they were pretty low on life and we had a very nice board, so maybe they were just trying to conserve their life total, but they might be more inclined than the average Jund player to play around Blood Moon, which would make me kind of only want around 2 of these plus the Spreading Seas. Well, they're taking their time submitting, so either they're thinking about it, or maybe they're just AFK. Who knows? Well, we're in it regardlessly. Game 2 here on the draw. How is this hand? It's not bad. Bolt and Tarfire, not very good against Tarmogoyf. Pretty good against Scavenging Ooze, Bob, Bloodbraid Elf, you know, all those guys. Also, they go face. Never underestimate going face. Very good hidden mode on the burn spells. Not so hidden. Treetop Village. Bolt kills that. Bam! We also can elect to get Blood Moon mana, thanks to that Traverse the Ulvenwald, which is definitely something to note. Delver seems like a great place to start. Delver into Goyf, also something I like. Especially if they deal with Delver, because that means Goyf probably won't die to Bolt. I don't like playing out Goyfs that die to Bolt when the opponent's on a Bolt deck. Generally not something you want to do. I don't think I've ever done that. Maybe there's one time I recall recently when I had 2 Tarmogoyfs. Both were 1/2s. And I might have played out the first one in hopes that either it would dodge Bolt and the opponent would just not have it, or maybe I would get, they would answer the first Goyf. Oh no, that's my water bottle. It makes very strange noises when the water goes through the nozzle on it. I try to stifle that as much as possible because I do think it's quite annoying. I find it annoying. Another Tarmogoyf, we're not going to reveal that. Do we want to answer their Goyf? Maybe. Actually, we're going to start by swinging here. Nice to know that their Tarmogoyf could not block our Delver. How do we want to do this? We can play out a Tarmogoyf. If we play ours out, oh, but then they get to bolt our Tarmogoyf, and that sucks. We could Tarfire their Goyf, which is something. I kind of like Tarfiring their Tarmogoyf. Bolt is the slightly better removal spell here. Them playing this out means they basically had nothing else. If they do go Liliana, make you sack your Delver as a follow-up to that play, at least we get to bolt the Liliana. I also think we're going to traverse out a basic forest here. No, a basic island. If we Tarfire this, we're going to put a tribal card and an instant in the graveyard. This will be a 2/3. Can't kill it. Can't kill it, which means we're going to have to bolt that Goyf, which I don't like, because Tarfire does not answer Treetop Village. Still kills Liliana, as long as it ticks down. I do think I want to answer that Tarmogoyf. Then again, maybe we just answer Goyf by having our own Goyf, but that means we don't get to traverse, and it means that their Goyf will survive because they can bolt our Goyf. Our Goyf dies to bolt, and then theirs doesn't, so I think I'm going to have some initiative on this and make it so that our Tarmogoyfs do not die to Lightning Bolt. We're going to traverse here, get a basic island, get Blood Moon mana. Blood Moon looks quite good right now. Not that we're probably playing it anytime soon, because we have a lot of haymakers to slam. Catacombs could mean Liliana. Well, if they want to get an overgrown tomb so that they can have Lily mana and have the option of animating that treetop village, they're going to be very susceptible to Blood Moon, and they're also going to take some extra damage, so I don't hate that. Really don't. If they do go Lily, make you sack Delver, we probably Tarfire to finish it off, and then slam our first Goyf. They also might just answer Delver and follow it up with their own 2-drop. Swamp. Well, looks like they're giving up on Treetop Village in favor of Liliana. Nope. Sprouting Thrinax. Okay. I don't think I have ever seen this card. Much less seen it played. What do we got? Basic Mountain. Well, Huntmaster's coming down soon enough, so there's that. I should have played on the island. We just told them what one of the cards in our hand was, and that's bad. We're going to pass here. We do not have good attacks. That much is clear. Sprouting Thrinax. It's very Jund. Very, very Jund. Thoughtseize, that's fine. It's very annoying, but it's fine. I doubt they're taking Tarfire because it's probably the worst card in our hand. Huntmaster seems great to me, so I imagine that's what they want to take. They also might just have bolts and take the Tarmogoyf, who knows. Speculating on what our opponent's going to do when they have 3 cards in hand and we have very little information as to what those are. Not very productive. On the other hand, I find it hard to do anything else when we're waiting on the opponent to make their decisions. Can't really plan out our next turn either because there's tons of information we don't have. What they're going to do with the rest of their mana, what they're going to take with that Thoughtseize, what we're going to draw. I do think we want to attack Goyf into this Thrinax, even though it's going to be able to chump Tarmogoyf for days. The vast network of predation on Jund has actually caused some strange creatures to adapt to being eaten. Sure, why not? That makes a lot of sense, because there are plenty of animals in real life that have bad things happen to the things that eat them. That's why you have poisonous plants and such. They evolved to be like that. And now we're talking about evolutionary biology. As soon as we pull up the list, they're just gonna make their decision, and then we're gonna have to get rid of the list. Let's look at the sideboard maybe. Yup, figures. I decided on something, and they chose what they're doing. How is our sideboard for Jund? I think I like how we sideboarded. They took Tarmogoyf, which suggests to me that they have a lot of bolts. I'm not sure if we want to cut all of these Scours, because I do have a higher curve post board, and we are still pretty reliant on the graveyard, but cantrips are at least somewhat air. Lightning Bolt's great. Transforms Delver. Eventually will act as burn. We're going to swing with the team here. I might bolt this, just because it means Goyf doesn't die to Lightning Bolt. Tarfire does not save Goyf from opposing Lightning Bolts. Do I care if they have a bolt? They probably... We have so many things that die to bolt. I'm just going to run this into Thrinax. I'd rather be able to slam Huntmaster here. If they have the bolt, they can just triple block Tarmogoyf with the Thrinax tokens anyways, so it doesn't matter. Lightning Bolt on that, sure. We're going to follow this up with a Huntmaster. And they know the entire contents of our hand because of Thoughtseize and Delver. So our opponent has perfect information. We are quite in the dark, though. Saproling tokens, that's weird. Why does the lizard make plants? I guess they're fungi. Why does the lizard make fungi? These are the secrets of the universe that... Yeah. We are just waiting a lot. I apologize for anyone who wanted more entertainment out of this league. Stomping Ground, well, that means that we do get to transform Huntmaster, which I like. Do I want to swing with this? Tarmogoyf's just going to get got, and I don't like that. Next turn, we can take out this Thrinax, which I do like. We're going to play this tapped. We're going to pass. Shoot some stuff with the Huntmaster. That much is good. Oh, do they have removal for it? Oh, that's good. That's very good, yeah. Huntmaster not going to transform. It's going to try, but it is not going to succeed. In which case, we probably just don't do anything. Do I want to bolt that Thrinax? I kind of want to bolt that Thrinax. That way they at least have to trade a bunch of tokens if they want to deal with Tarmogoyf. We're going to start swinging because if we do nothing, the Jund player is probably just going to draw better cards than we are. Tarfire probably just saves Goyf from dying here. Yeah, if they put everything in front of it, we Tarfire one of them. Tarmogoyf's going to grow, and we're just going to be in a great spot. Don't think they're supposed to block like that. Kill this. Goyf's going to be a 5/6. 5/6 with 5 damage on it, and their board is clear. Now we just hope that we draw ever so slightly than the opponent. Well, at least we had something exciting happen with decisions. What is this? It's another Sprouting Thrinax. It just has different art. Well, we got through one of them. We're getting there. Curious Obsession. Okay. I kind of want to put that on the Wolf. Make them trade. We get in for 5. Or we put it on the Goyf. That's kind of putting all of our eggs in one basket. I think we're just going to keep on swinging with just the Tarmogoyf. I'm happy to leave this Breeding Pool in hand in case they go Liliana tick up. Just because I'd rather have the Curious Obsession in hand. Curious Obsession is good against decks like this, when you have a window to resolve it without getting 2-for-1 and then connect at least once, because then it's a 1-for-1, and from there you have a card advantage engine going that they either answer or get buried by. And that's kind of nice. Well, they took it, which is very interesting. I guess they have an answer to that Tarmogoyf? That's my assumption. Double black and 1 Maelstrom Pulse. That is an answer to Tarmogoyf. We might have to give up that Curious Obsession. Although I don't like using it to trade with that Thrinax, given that Thrinax makes a lot of dudes. Hooting Mandrills, that's a target. That is a target for Curious Obsession. Let's delve away 2 cards. What do we got? Goyf and a Bolt. Keep that graveyard stocked. If we untap with this, we're going to be in a good spot. Trample is a hell of a keyword. What do you have, opponent? Try not to be too good. It's a Bloodbraid. That's not bad. That is not bad. Into Blightning. Well, we lost Curious Obsession. Discard 2. Yup. Didn't think... Is our opponent basically just playing standard Jund with Tarmogoyfs? Because Bloodbraid Elf into Blightning, I wasn't around for, but I've heard plenty of stories about it. We're going to play this and give it haste. Do we want to swing the Wolf? We're probably not swinging with the Wolf unless we attack with Mandrills. I do want to give this haste. Yeah, let's swing with the team. I want to close this game. We're still the beatdown. They're going to have to double block some stuff. I'm assuming they double block either Nux or Hooting Mandrills, because Mandrills is going to be very good at blocking here. Bloodbraid is slightly worse than Thrinax, but we could keep the tokens off the table for an extra turn. Then again, Bloodbraid does a worse job of blocking this Wolf, so I think we're going to do it like that. They're going to take 6 and go into Bolt range, which I like a lot. I believe we still have 1 Traverse in the deck. We do. So we've got Traverse. We have 2 Snapcaster Mages as lethal. And there are 2 lightning bolts gone, so another 2 bolts. Traverse, 2 snap, 2 bolts. We have 5 draws that just win the game. They're probably bolting this. And I imagine some Bloodbraids are going to get in here. At least one I'm swinging with. That's fair. Huntmaster. That helps. That helps a lot. We're going to swing here. They're going to take 1 damage, lose some of their board. It's probably worth it. And we're going to follow that up with a Huntmaster. Gain some life, make some dudes. I especially like them taking 1 because it puts them down to 2, which means Forked Bolt becomes lethal, the other Tarfire becomes lethal, and a transformation off of this Huntmaster becomes lethal. So we have a lot more ways of killing the opponent immediately after they make that block. Or rather, after we make that attack. What do you got? Is it good? Hopefully it's not too good. Hopefully for us, of course. I imagine the opponent's hoping that they hit something very nice. We got Blightning, which I don't know is from Alara, but it is from that standard because I remember hearing about Bloodbraid into Blightning. We've got some cards from Alara, which are definitely from Alara and would be in that standard. So I feel like we just played against standard Jund with a bunch of upgrades. It's definitely different than the modern Jund deck. I don't know if I'd say it's better or worse. I'm going to take a short break before we head into the last match. I'll be back in probably less than 5 minutes. So I will see you guys then. Hey. Hi. I didn't do the laundry yet because it's just about time and I just finished my match. So I was going to go now, but now you're home, so I'll just pee. Alright, I am back. And I also just realized that I said we're 0-4, which is strictly incorrect. We happen to be 1-3 on the scoreboard. Good job, guys. And we beat a Jund deck, so there you go, redemption. Let's update the part where we're on a break, because that is also quite not factual at the moment. What do I usually put? Rug / Temur Delver? Probably. It looks like it just fits almost perfectly, so I'm going to go with that. And I'm going to head into the last match. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the stream or recording on YouTube so far. I've had a pretty good time, even though we got smashed by Jund, Tron, and what was that other deck? Elves? I guess Elves was a lot closer. Selfless Spirit, though. That is a hell of a card in that deck. That's really good. Don't think there are a lot of changes I would make to the list, at least not at the moment. I like it a lot. I think really I just have to play better and maybe be a little luckier. Alright, we're on the play. Step 1 to being luckier. 2 lands, visions, some interaction, goif, obsession. It's not bad. It is definitely not bad. Let's grab a Steam Vents. And cast visions. Do we want a 3rd land? I don't want this Mandrills. Don't know if I want this land. Probably not. Yeah, let's bottom it. I'd be a lot happier to draw gas. Street Wraith. Okay. We're looking at Death Shadow, maybe a Hollow One deck. It's Hollow One. Alright. I don't find this matchup to be great, but it's kind of okay. I think we're pretty much locked into slamming this Tarmogoyf, because if they Burning Inquiry and we lose that Goyf, we're going to be in a very bad spot. So I am just going to slam it immediately, even though we're going to be taking some damage here. It's possible I should have shocked, but I also like the idea of not losing so much life, and blue mana is not very important right now. There's the Inquiry. Well, we discarded the enchantment, which is great. Snapcaster Mage, something we're going to want to use eventually. I like that we still have the Tarfires, because we're going to be shooting down some dudes sometime soon. Gurmag Angler, that's pretty good, but we still have a 5/6. And it looks like they actually drew us into another 5/6. Delver of Secret's not the best. We do want to Tarfire this. I don't think I'm that excited to race Gurmag Angler. Do we just play the 2nd Tarmogoyf first? We can't traverse out another green source because we only have the 1 basic forest. If we could, this would be a pretty bonkers turn. If we just want to Tarfire this, we're definitely going to traverse out a land. We can traverse out an island and play this Delver. We should probably play our land first. It's a good idea. Deal with that. And I almost want to race here, but I think we're going to wait until we slam the 2nd Goyf. It's probably a little bit better. We're playing against Black-Red Hollow One. Don't think it's the green version that splashes for Vengevine, although I'm not sure the green version even bothers playing green sources for Vengevine. That was a Lightning Bolt to take out our Delver of Secrets, followed by a Goblin Lore. Probably trying to cast these Hollow Ones, which they were forced to discard, which is great for us. We're going to swing in with Tarmogoyf. They probably don't block, which is amazing for us. We're going to play a 2nd Tarmogoyf and pass the turn. Don't think holding up Mana Leak is where we want to be. I find this is how you beat this deck. You get very big Tarmogoyfs, and then you make sure they stick. Let's see how we want to sideboard. I do have a plan for this deck, because I have lost to it a lot, which generally makes me want to figure out how to beat decks. Ancient Grudge and Destructive Revelry are very good answers to Hollow One, so we're going to board those in. Although it does feel kind of bad to have a card that only answers one of their threats. It's a 4-of, and they have enough redundancy through looting effects that it shows up pretty well every game. Anger of the Gods, I kind of like as an answer to Flamewake Phoenix and Bloodghast. Pyroclasm isn't the best, but I see it as a bit of a tempo play. Although, you know what? A lot of those cards have haste, so maybe it's just not worth it at all. I like Pyroclasm as a tempo play against Dredge, because it deals with Narc-amoebas is the correct way of pronouncing that card. Stinkweed Imps temporarily, stuff like that, which can set them back just long enough for you to get in with your Tarmogoyfs and such fatties. Maybe we won't board in the Pyroclasm here, though. I also want Basilisk Collar. Death Touch, very relevant in this matchup, and Lifelink, really good. Really, really good. What do we want to board out? Counters, yeah, makes sense. Spell Snares hit Goblin Lore, and technically Bloodghast, which isn't very good. We're going to cut the Mana Leaks, which is a little counterintuitive because it's a great answer to Gurmag Angler, but that's going to come down relatively early. So I don't think we want to be drawing Mana Leaks into the mid-game. It's just not very good. And I'm willing to cut 1 Denial. Normally I cut 2 to board in this Pyroclasm, but I'm pretty okay. What did I do? Oh, I only cut 4 cards. Didn't realize. I don't really want all 3 Stubborn Denials, although maybe I'll run it. That's fine. Apparently, normally I keep 2. I was under the impression that I've been keeping 1. Let's do it. Stubborn Denial's probably the best counter here. Doesn't answer their threats, but it stops their threats from coming down. This hand is complete garbage. We should not keep this. We might... No, this isn't Gataxian Probe. We should not keep this. I didn't even keep hands like that with Probe. This represents a land, so it's okay. If the opponent Burning Inquiries it away, we're in much worse shape. We don't need the second Scour, so we're going to get rid of it. There's a Faithless Looting. If we see some Street Wraiths, we might have some early Hollow Ones, but we didn't. And instead, we drew a land, which makes me almost want to hold up this Thought Scour, which is better. Thought Scour lets us play Mandrills, but we want to slam Goyf anyways. So I think we're just going to get Traverse into the bin. What do we want to fetch out here? I feel like it's a Stomping Ground. We're going to want to play around Blood Moon because this deck does board in Blood Moon. Traverse more in matchups like this to find lands than it is for finding threats. Although finding a Snapcaster Mage in the late game, always nice. Can't complain about that. Our opponent is very likely running a non-zero amount of... Here's a Hollow One. That should be okay, though. What's the word? Fatal Push. I find these decks play Fatal Push. I think we just want to fetch out a basic forest here to make sure we're secure against Blood Moon. Even though it's going to let them know what one of our cards are, we're going to slam this Tarmogoyf. Help us block Hollow One. The Flamewake Phoenix is probably going to come back from the graveyard. Going to be very annoying. This little guy here. Very good clock. If they have Fatal Push, we can't really play around it. Gurmag Angler, also very good here. If I'm the opponent, I like swinging first to get us to block the Hollow One, but I guess they want to keep their Hollow One around. That's fair. What's the plan? We probably want to Scour. We hit a land. We made Goyf a 4/5. I just played our land for the turn. Going for the forest instead of playing at the island kind of bit us, because now we don't have 2 blue sources to go Scour into the Simic Charm we drew. Playing out Mandrill seems a little bad, but it can trade with Hollow One, so I'm not completely against that. We also have another land to replace the one we're going to delve. We have a sorcery to replace that. We have plenty of instants, and we're going to trade with this hollow one to put the mandrills in the bin. But is that better than just blocking with Tarmogoyf? I think it might be. They might have a fatal push, which means we are dead. And I think that might be something we could want to play around. Let's cast this. It's probably our best option at this point. We're going to dump a creature. That's a pretty easy one. Land. We're probably more inclined to put a sorcery in the bin than we are an instant, given that we have that Serum Vision. So I think we're going to do this. Chances are Mandrills is just going to bite the dust immediately. So I don't mind delving out the creatures. Letting our Tarmogoyf die to Bolt was a very big misplay. Then again, we die to Bolt. Oh, they just have another anyways. Alright. I was going to say, why did they Bolt Tarmogoyf in that spot? But that makes sense. Alright. I believe we run this back. Curious Obsession doesn't seem to be the best. But we do want to clock the opponent here, so I kind of like it. Also makes our stuff better against Gurmag Anglers and Hollow ones, so I'm going to run this back. We're on the play this time, so that's nice. How is this hand? We don't have a blue source. That probably means it's worth mulliganing, although we can answer their early stuff with Tarfire and Dismember. I think it's worth mulliganing. Ah! This is rough. I really want to be able to keep this hand. I really do. I don't think we can, though. We still don't have a blue source, but at least we have a Tarmogoyf, so I'm going to run this one. And we get to Scry, so that's something. That's going on top. That's easily going on top. Leyline of the Void. Alright, we are officially in trouble. We could shock here, so that we can seamlessly answer a Flameblade Adept. But I think we're just going to play this tapped. Leyline of the Void going to be very bad for us. We probably don't play out that Tarmogoyf. I'm not sure we actually want this Lightning Bolt instead of hoping for a blue source. But Lightning Bolt is pretty good against their deck. Faithless Looting should help to grow the Tarmogoyf. It's now bolt proof, which I like. They could delve all that stuff away pretty quickly, which I don't like. I actually almost want to bolt the opponent here, just to make our Tarmogoyf a little bigger. I don't think it's actually worth it, though. I just kind of want to do it. That's great. That means we can... We probably just play Delver and Tarmogoyf. I don't think it's worth going Goyf, Hold Up, Bolt. So I think we're going to get a basic island. Play our two dudes. And hope we're going to get there. They can't Angler yet. If they have a Looting, they can. It's also going to make Goyf extremely small. Probably small enough that it's worth just chumping. We're going to take this. Yeah, if we had Lightning Bolt up, I'd be more inclined to block with Goyf and trade. As is, it's not a good spot. That's good. It would be better if Leyline wasn't here. I believe we want to use this immediately. Ancient Grudge is a very good answer to their threat. I also want this Delver, though. I might top. Might top. I think we want the Ancient Grudge first. Technically, we can draw both with the Bauble. It's going to make Delver just as bad as far as transforming goes as if we had no information. I also think we want to crack this immediately so we could draw the Ancient Grudge. I did top the Ancient Grudge, correct? I didn't screw that up. Oh, how I hope I did not screw that up. Ancient Grudge on top. Good job, Self. Good job. Oh, that's just them. I was thinking we had to discard too. That's silly. They might go land Gurmag here. We're not going to take this damage. We are killing this hollow one. And now we get to swing for 5. That's a plus. No fatal push. Try not to have fatal push. Good job. Good job, opponent. Let's play this Delver. Snapcaster Mage is going to be quite bad, but we have 2 lightning bolts, which might just be going face. I'm not sure if the opponent's flooding out, but they're not casting a lot of stuff. This looks like a Gurmag Angler. They're spending a lot of time paying costs. Collective Brutality with Big Game Hunter for madness. That's great. Oh, how a blowout that is. That's really good. That's pretty well better than Gurmag Angler level of good. And they take a bolt. I don't think I want to bolt the Big Game Hunter, but I really might. I'm going to untap. Land. Do we show them that? We might. It's probably not relevant. We're probably going to end up flashing in a Snapcaster Mage. Leyline of the Void, very good against us. Very, very good against us. Flashback looting, sure. Snapcaster Mage obviously looks worse when A, we don't have a graveyard, and B, they know about it. Yeah, they're not attacking here because they don't want us to get to do this. We're doing it anyways, though. I guess they don't want to race the 2-1. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Cast that. Oh, we're going to cast that. Play this. I think we're going to hope they don't have an answer to the Snapcaster Mage. As bad as that seems to me, I'm going to go get a basic mountain because I want to conserve my life total. I'm going to bolt this guy. And I'm going to try this. Yeah, it looks like it's not going to work. But it might. It might. They get Bloodghast back. Bloodghast can't block. Bloodghast cannot block. In for 2 with lifelink. Here we go. Now we just need them to not draw anything useful whatsoever. Flashback looting. They're seeing a lot of cards. I think they're going to hit something soon. We're going to need to hope that we also hit something soon. Because this Snapcaster Mage not going to do work for long. It can attack into fatties, which is nice. That I like. Big Game Hunter doesn't shoot Snapcaster Mage. It does block very well. Which means we will soon be seeing the end of the Snapcaster Mage. They can't bring back the Flamewake Phoenix, which I like. They can cast Hollow One. And soon enough, they will be getting back that Flamewake Phoenix. Serum Visions. It's a start. Let's give it a go. What do we got? Hopefully the best card ever. Which might actually just be Goyf's Forever and Ever Amen. I like Forked Bolt. I don't like this. We're not going to swing. It feels like we've lost, but it's not over just yet. Gurmag Angler. That makes us a lot more likely to have lost. Flamewake's going to come back. That we can't block. We also probably don't want to Forked Bolt it. I'm not sure what we want to do here. Maybe we should have just bottomed the Forked Bolt. Before they had Gurmag Angler, Forked Bolt seemed okay, just because we take out the Big Game Hunter, and then Snapcaster Mage looks a little bit better, but I guess it's still really bad. We probably should have bottomed this. I think we have a better chance at winning if we do. As is, we're going to take this out. Probably shoot this as well, because it's the only other thing we can take out. We can't profitably answer the Flamewake yet. I am going to hope Snapcaster Mage can keep those fatties at bay just a little longer so that we can draw something really good. Looks like they hit their land. They might have just had it anyways. Can we afford to block that Bloodghast? Oh, they're getting in. They probably have a Bolt. Let's block here. At least we gain 2. What do we got? Thought Scour. Use it. What do we got? I feel like we're dead. I feel like it's a Hooting Mandrills. So you're saying, oh, we don't have a graveyard. I was thinking we play this for 1 mana. We equip it with Basilisk Collar. They swing for 2. They can't swing for this because we'll gain life. And then we have just that sliver of hope. But Leyline. We're dead. We are dead. I'm not sure, besides this Mandrills, Leyline actually did them that much work, though. Because this Tarmogoyf died to a big game hunter, so its graveyard synergy didn't matter. It had the opponent's graveyard to feed off of. Delver doesn't care. It was really just the Snapcaster Mage. Oh, the Abrupt Decay. The Ancient Grudge. That's relevant. We would have been able to grudge this. We also would have been able to Snapcaster Mage something. Probably Flashback Bolt, but I'm not sure what that answers. I guess if we take out this, these become more manageable. So maybe we had a chance in the case that they didn't have that Leyline. But I also think we really just lost to, honestly, not having more Goyfs. Tarmogoyf is really the best card we can have in this matchup. I think it's really important. We need to draw our Goyfs and have them be 5/6s. We did a bit of both, but we didn't draw any more Goyfs. We hit a lot of Delvers, actually, but they all got answered. Well, I'll at least be able to rewatch this to see what other mistakes we may have made. Thank you all for joining the stream. Anyone who came by at any point, thanks for watching. Thanks to anyone who may be watching this on YouTube in the future. I appreciate it. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed that stream. And I will see you next week, probably around 1 or 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. I'm going to try to stream every week around that time. Should be more than manageable. We might not have so many leagues specifically recorded for YouTube, just because that means playing 2 leagues a week, which I might not be able to pull off yet, but we'll see. See you next time, Baggy Trouser. Thanks for coming by. Here's the deck. I don't think we're going to make any changes before next week. It's pretty unlikely. Really, I think I just need to play more matches with it, see what works, what doesn't. Maybe I shouldn't be boarding in Basilisk Collar so aggressively. Maybe it's not as good as I had hoped against Elves. I could very well see that. I probably won't be boarding it in next time. And I'll be rewatching the league to see how I could have done better against Jund, Tron, Elves, as we said, Hollow One, of course, and the other Jund deck that we played against. So, thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video or stream, and I hope to see you in the next one.